Planning a dream trip to Japan is hard enough. The last thing you need is another conundrum before you even arrive. But when it comes to rail passes, Japan Railways has made things much worse for you. As there are so many to choose from, it's really easy to pick the wrong one. But after more than a decade of exploring the country, and almost always by train, I'm going to tell you which passes I'd buy without any hesitation, and then which ones need to be locked up and fed natto until the end of time. First up is the Takayama Hokuriku Area Tourist Pass. A bit of a mouthful, yes, but I get a lot of questions asking me about going to Takayama, which is usually going to include a trip to Shirakawa-go. It's one of the most beautiful villages in the whole of Japan, but it's hard to find a regional pass that'll get you there without needing to buy separate tickets. So I think this pass is a true hidden gem because it'll get you all the way from Kansai Airport through Osaka and Kyoto and up to Takayama via Kanazawa and Toyama. The route covered takes in several hot spring towns, including Gero Onsen. I'd recommend using this pass by starting in Nagoya and heading up to Takayama from there. You can then use the bus to visit Shirakawa-go before maybe moving on to Kanazawa. From here, you might want to take a stop in Fukui for the incredible dinosaur museum, or perhaps a Heiji temple if you have time. Real gem, that one. Anyway, move on to Kyoto or Osaka on the last day and you'll have made the most of that pass. Now, to reach Shirakawa-go, you need to take a bus instead of a train, but luckily this pass covers all the major bus routes in the area. And the best part, it's an absolute steal at 19,800 yen for 5 days of travel. Now, with all these passes, I've got links in the description to maps that show the coverage area, as well as links for where to buy them from. Yes, they're affiliate links, and using them supports what I do on this channel. So thanks in advance. And while you're down there, why not sign up for my free monthly email, Japan Unraveled Insider? I pack it full of Japan travel tips, advice, and destination recommendations. So in just 5 minutes every month, you can level up your trip plan. Next up, let's go down to the west of Japan, where passes tend to be a fair bit cheaper than the ones covering Tokyo and all points north of there. And this is particularly good news for explorers because JR West offers 2 7-day passes that represent spectacular value for money. Both the JR West All Area Pass and the Sanyo Sanin Northern Kyushu Pass are priced at 26,000 yen, and they cover vast swathes of the country. Now, I think both of these passes are well worth getting because you can really get out and about and explore a super wide area. So you get a huge feeling of freedom and you're less restricted to a tiny travel zone like with some of the other passes. So you may be thinking, what's the difference between these two passes? Well, the All Area Pass covers the entirety of West Japan, including much of Kansai, and also stretches all the way up to Kanazawa and Toyama. On the other hand, with the Sanyo Sanin Northern Kyushu Pass, you swap the area around Kanazawa and Toyama for, well, surprisingly, the north of Kyushu. This includes the hot spring heaven of Beppu, Kumamoto with the nearby volcano, Mount Aso, as well as the hugely historical city of Nagasaki. If I had to choose between the two, I'd go with the Sanyo Sanin Northern Kyushu Pass because I think there's much more to see in the north of Kyushu than there is in and around Kanazawa and Toyama. But at 26,000 yen for a whole week, you can't go wrong either way. Now, if you're less a roaming explorer and more someone who wants to do a few day trips while you're based in one city, the Kansai Wide Area Pass is a standout option. With this pass, you can base yourself somewhere like Kyoto, Osaka, Kobe, or Okayama. And then you can easily take in the scenic wonderlands of Amana Hashidate, Tottori, or perhaps the Kibi Plain outside Okayama. If you need some intensive R&R, this pass will whisk you to Kinosaki Onsen in one swoop. Even the art lover's paradise island of Naoshima is in easy reach, although you will need to pay for the ferry with that one. Sorry, it's not included. This way you can see a whole lot of prime Japan in 5 days, just with a smaller coverage area than the passes I just mentioned. Now, I really can't understand why it's priced at 12,000 yen, because if you do a round trip from Kyoto to somewhere like Tottori or Naoshima, you get about 16,000 yen's worth of travel in one day. So this pass is an absolute steal, and you should take advantage of it while you can. My last pick in the west of Japan is the Kansai Hiroshima Pass. Again, this lasts for 5 days, and it's like an extended version of the Kansai Wide Area Pass, with the western limit ending just past Miyajima and taking in the wonderful historic bridge of Kintai-kyo. It's only a little bit more expensive at 17,000 yen, but when a round trip between Kyoto and Hiroshima costs almost 24,000 yen, you'd be a fool to miss out on this pass. North of Tokyo, the JR East Pass, Tohoku area, is really the only pass I'd recommend up there. It runs for either 5 or 10 days, and I think this makes it the pass with the longest possible duration without being a national JR pass. I'd probably go with the 10-day version if given the choice. Yes, it's pricier at 48,000 yen, but trust me, there are so many killer spots up in the north that fully deserve your attention, and you're going to need as much time as possible. And how do I know that? Well, I actually made a video of all the greatest spots up in the north of Japan. So have a look at that video. I've linked it down in the description. Okay, let's move on now to what I think are the worst 3 rail passes you can buy at the moment. We'll start with the Hokuriku Arch Pass. These days, it seems you can't spend more than 5 minutes on YouTube without somebody recommending this pass. For the life of me, I can't understand why. Well, I sort of can. It gets you between Tokyo and Kyoto or Osaka, and it costs only 30,000 yen for 7 days. But honestly, you get what you pay for. There's a reason why this pass is that price. It's because you can't take the direct route, the Hokkaido Shinkansen, between Tokyo and Kyoto or Osaka. JR doesn't want you on that bit of track because it's insanely busy. Instead, you're going to get routed partway on the Hokuriku Shinkansen up north to Suruga via Kanazawa, and then, well, you may as well be on the slow boat to China, because here you switch to a limited express to get you down to Osaka or Kyoto. So it turns an easy 2-hour journey into a slog that takes 4 hours and 20 minutes. Plus, there are far fewer trains running on this route. The limited express between Osaka and Suruga runs once or twice an hour, compared to 10 or more trains per hour on the Tokaido Shinkansen. So, unless you really wanted to visit Kanazawa before you knew about this pass, I don't see much reason to get it. There are much better choices to be made for less than 30,000 yen that I covered earlier in this video. Next up is the Kansai Area Pass. This is a bit of a strange one because it runs for 1, 2, 3 or 4 days, and it has a variable price, maxing out at 7,000 yen. That's not much true, but see, intercity trains between Osaka, Kyoto, Nara and Kobe are already relatively cheap. Like Kyoto to Osaka by JR on the local train costs 580 yen. So realistically, the only way this pass makes any sense is if you make some longer journeys to somewhere like Himeji. The last pass I would completely avoid is the JR East South Hokkaido Pass. On paper, this one sounds great because you can ride all the way from Tokyo to Sapporo up in Hokkaido. How exciting, you think? But although the Shinkansen gets you up to Hakodate in about 4 hours and 20 minutes, that's where the speed stops. Because after that, it's another 3 hours and 40 minutes on the Limited Express to get to Sapporo. That's a flippin' long time. I've taken that train a few times and it's not as smooth as the Shinkansen by a long way. So while I get that some of you just want to ride the trains as much as possible on your trip, this pass really doesn't make a lot of sense over the JR East Tohoku area pass. You're paying extra and you're getting an extra day over the 5-day pass, but the time it takes to get up to Sapporo just wouldn't be worth spending. So if you want to get up to Hokkaido and don't want to spend all your time on the train, do what the Japanese do and take a plane instead. And if you're looking for inspiration about some of the greatest hidden spots in Japan that you should be visiting, go check out this video up here. See ya!